Hello, and welcome to this episode of Friends of Phil podcast. We've got me, Phil, and my brother, Grant. Say hi,
Hey
Grant.
guys, nice to be back again.
You sound
Excited
so
for this
excited.
episode.
So excited.
Well, let me try that again.
Yeah, that was really low energy. I think we need to crank it up a bit.
All right.
You drinking water?
Oh, that was the crank.
Oh, that was a terrible crank.
Oh, hold on, let me try it again. You.
Okay, whatever, Soldier Boy.
I
All right, anyway.
Crank that energy.
Dear God. People are literally turning off the podcast as we speak.
Yeah, well, if they don't enjoy that, they're not going to enjoy the podcast. So it's a good barrier of entry.
If you don't like bad crank noises and Soldier Boy jokes, you are not going to enjoy this. So just, turn away now. It's fine.
It's not for everyone, Phil. It's really not.
It's a very tiny niche market for that. Who's our advertiser going to be?
I'm not sure,
Just
but
kidding.
I was reading online that podcasts should have a niche, and I thought that could be ours.
Yeah, just like bad sound effects and early
Soulja
2000s
Boy.
rappers. Yeah, Soldier Boy, bad sound. What are they called?
At least
sound,
he wasn't a
sound effects.
sound effects,
Yeah,
sound bites.
okay.
I don't know.
Sound bite. I don't know either.
Ringtones, boomer. What are you thinking? Anyway, at least Soldier Boy wasn't a one-hit wonder. I'm glad that
No.
guy got at least one more good song out there.
He had two mildly decent. This has nothing to do with our guest we have coming on.
It really doesn't.
Not even
But I
close.
feel like we probably could get Soldier Boy on this podcast, and it
I feel like
wouldn't
he
be that
wants
difficult.
so much money. So much money. I feel like he's just a scam artist at this point. We're calling him out. We're calling him out, and maybe he'll respond.
I feel like that's a mistake.
Yeah, well, that's how people used to get
I don't-
Eminem into like rap battles against him. They'd call him out in a song, and then he'd go off on them. So I mean, I feel like we're calling
Did
out
boost their
Soldier Boy at this
popularity.
point. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's fine.
That's our
It
marketing
works.
campaign. Our niche is
we
crank
just-
noises, and our marketing campaign is dissing Soldier Boy. So anyway, we have Tracey Bloom on today.
yes, the incredible chef Tracey Bloom. You know her from Don't Be Tardy, Top Chef, and just making awesome videos online. You could also check out her cookbook, and you could check out all of her links. I'm going to have them on every part of this podcast, but at Chef Tracey Bloom on Instagram. That's where you're going to see the most of her
That's
content.
Tracy with an E.
Yes, Tracy with an E.
T-R-A-C-E-Y.
Not at the beginning. EY.
Yeah.
Yes. Not just the Y.
Not
Make sure you got the E in
right.
there.
I think we just are confusing people at this point. So maybe
Yeah.
we can get
Uh,
Tracy
just
in here
look at
and
our
get
links.
this started.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good. Let's bring in Tracy. All right, and we are here with the great Tracey Bloom, Chef Tracey Bloom, and we've got Grant and Brian again. He ditched us again, Grant. I'm not sure what's going on there. He just
Flaky
flaky.
guy.
Yeah, he's not. We can't rely on him. But Tracy, thank you so much for coming on. We truly appreciate it, and I'd like to kind of just get started, dive right in. Where did you get started? What got you into cooking?
Well, grew up poor, had no clothes and had no food. And, as well as I know, you get a job in the kitchen and you get clothes and you get food. So, I didn't have to worry about what I was going to wear to work because it was always going to be the same uniform. They were going to wash it and give it back to me, and they're going to feed me. And that familial thing you get in a restaurant, like especially when you're younger. And I started very young. All the older guys, there's lots of different scenarios, but for me, it was very like I was a dishwasher kid, and they were just like real enthusiastic about helping me get better and do things. It was exciting. So I got started in New York. I'm from New York, and I worked everywhere from like the Finger Lakes racetrack to the Woodcliff, the Brookwood Inn, lots of different places there. And then I went to culinary school after that, I moved to Atlanta. I went to CIA, of course, the
Just,
best.
yeah, you got to go there if you want to get the good education.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome. And you did mention too, you are from the same area we are from. I mean, we're in the
yeah. I
Rochester
mean, let's
area.
say
You were,
Rochester, New
yeah,
York, but
yeah,
I mean, I mean, I'm from like exit. I don't know, some 44, 46, up, Shortsville, Manchester.
yeah.
Uh, a tiny little town, but I fly into Rochester, so the Finger Lakes,
The greater
Yeah.
Rochester area or whatever they want to
the
call it these
second
days.
largest wine producing area in New York State.
Here, here. um, yeah, no, that's awesome. And just for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, I got to work with Tracy in the Finger Lakes West Food Festival. I think I butchered the name. It's very close to that though, if it wasn't that.
Yeah,
And right, it's somewhere around there.
something like that. It was like the FLX, which
FLX.
Yeah,
their first time
FLX Food
so
Festival.
I don't know.
Yes. I mean, I feel like I should have a better grasp on that. I don't for some reason though. I butchered my performance. Tracy was so just like supportive the whole time, which just like, hey, like
No,
don't
Phil. I
don't
mean,
worry about it.
you're so fun though. Like it was. I think you had a couple, couple boxes didn't open on time for you, but I think I think it was just you're an entertaining guy. So I think the whole thing was entertaining, and me and my Sue, who's not really a Sue, but just someone I like to gamble with whenever I go anywhere. Um, we always we just think you're a great guy. That's the only reason I'm doing your podcast while I could be watching a movie. And it's freezing here. Like you think I got this hat in Fargo. It's actually a wood chipper hat. Um,
That's awesome.
and from the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like 20 degrees here in Atlanta. And
Oh
they
wow.
canceled school yesterday and because it was 17 degrees and it was a 2-hour delay today. We don't have any snow or rain, but
Oh my goodness. It's just as bad up here. So I'm glad to hear that because I was gonna say like, oh, I bet it's great in Atlanta right now, but yeah,
well,
I guess we'll.
I don't know if it's global warming or if the sun's just, I don't know
Yeah.
whatever, we're drinking too much Diet Coke or I don't know what it is, but something is definitely happening to the world.
Well, we'll keep it down there, I guess. If we'll take the break for a little. We're supposed to be 40 next week, so I'm excited about that. 40.
Oh,
Woo. Shorts,
Ooh,
definitely shorts weather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
nice.
Um, and so Tracy, I read that you were a top 25 chef in Atlanta.
Yeah, I was
That's
at one time. Yes, there was
tell me about that.
that was like one of my first accolades here. I was always fine being the sous chef. I had a great chef that I worked with for many years, and I followed him all over it. Um, you know, he no longer kept the position where we were at. I had to move on, and I got my first chef position, my second chef position, and I mean, it really, as a sous chef, you're running the place anyway. But I just always
Right.
had that loyalty that, like, to my chef.
Right.
Um, and now that I'm a chef, I just want my sous chef to run the place so I can leave. But that was an article that came out. It was a paper here in Atlanta, and it ranked the top 25 chefs in Atlanta. And Atlanta's a big city, and
Yeah.
so a lot of those people that I was side by side with were some of the greats. So it was a big honor, and I certainly didn't rank myself up at the top, and I was just happy to be on there, even if I was 25th. And
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I think helped me get on Top Chef. So I was working in an open kitchen, and you know, I had tried out Top Chef. Comes to the big cities, and you can go and you can do an interview, or you can send in your tape. Nowadays with digital stuff, everything is so different. But they
Right.
came to the city, and I did a casting call, and so they go to your restaurant and they eat at your restaurant, and that article had come out just around that same time. So it was a really big deal for me, and I think not that it was like an end all be all,
Yeah.
but it gave me some backbone and some courage to say, hey, um, whatever. So next up was Top Chef, and that was a really cool experience, and I have made so many lifelong friends from that experience. And when you meet other people from different seasons, like you might be like, oh, so and so from season this, and you all just are. It's like you're in like the army or something. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
you're like you drive a Jeep. You know how all the
Yeah.
Jeep people like love each
Yeah.
other. Like
And then,
Right.
who'd you
They do
surf
the
with
wave.
on Top Chef? Yeah.
Hey, I went through that too. So, um, you know that, and then even now doing events and stuff like that where there's other top chefs, it's just, I don't know, it's like a brotherhood kind of, or um, but anyway, so there, that was really cool. And that actually opened up the doors for a lot of things for me. Money wise, it
Yeah.
definitely raised my salary uh,
Sure.
to be able to go to bigger restaurants and, not get the bottom of the barrel, because at that time, people were driving from Nashville and South Carolina. They wanted to go to Top
Wow.
Chef restaurants. So
Yeah.
it didn't matter if you came in first or you came in last. People were doing this thing where they're like, oh, I want to go to all the Top Chef's restaurants, and it was really popular and really cool. And so that really helped push my career. And then I walked onto the set of Don't Be Tardy, which was my next reality show.
Yeah.
And I did a couple little things in between that. I did something called it was like it was you can swear on this podcast.
You are more than welcome. Yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was called I don't know, but it was like the new product. What is that? Shark Tank for food. It was called
Oh yeah.
Supermarket Superstar.
Okay.
And it
Yeah, I
was
remember
only
that.
one season, right? It was just
Yeah.
one season, and uh, Michael Torello, who just died, he was the chef. He was the chef on there, and then Sally. What are those cookies? Mrs. Field's cookies, right?
Uh-huh.
Mrs. Field was on there, and that was like the highlight of my career, because when that show aired, Mrs. Fields and I had like a moment, and it was caught on camera.
Uh-huh.
And the show The Soup.
Yeah, the soup. Uh-huh.
Yeah, this funny show The Soup. Well,
Yeah.
whatever his name, Mikhail.
Joel,
he
yeah.
he did a clip of it, and I made it on The Soup. It was like
That's awesome.
the chef and Mrs. Fields had a romantic moment. It was like twinkles in her eyes. And I don't know. That was a really cool minute for me. But anyway, so there was that, and in Real Housewives, and little episodes here and there, and it was kind of a joke, like how many reality shows can I go on,
Right.
And then I went on Don't Be Tardy, and I was on that show for 8 seasons.
Yeah.
And that became where I got a lot of followers. I went from like 4,000 followers to 250,000 followers, almost overnight. And I remember when I'd be like, oh my God, I got 10,000. And I'd be like 15, 20, 25. And then I don't know, I must have just like fell asleep, and there it was. And, life started to get really cool as a chef, because, you work really hard, and you work at 80 to 100 hours a week. You're making crap money. You're eating on your feet. You know the world,
Yeah.
Well, suddenly I became like an overnight, like, hey, like, why don't you tell us how great this LaCroix is, and we'll pay you $1,500. And I'm like, hey, let me make a video.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I love LaCroix. Use my code Chef Tracey 20 and get 20% off. Check, $1,500. And I was like, well, that was tough for the week.
Right.
I mean, then COVID hit. Those opportunities went away, and that type of marketing now is not. They were throwing money. I've got smokers and grills and all kinds of pots and pans and knives, and they're like, hey, can we give you this? And at some point I just was like, no, I don't want your knife, because I don't want to make a video for it. If you want to pay me $500, I'll take your knife.
Right.
But your knife's not that great. Like, I just had to make a knife sharpening video the other day, because they sent me this like $500 knife sharpener. The knife sharpener is good. I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah.
But it's good, and I'll use it. But I would have rather gotten money for it. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
for
pretty
sure.
much it's mostly product now. Now I get cases of barbecue sauce and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Your
it's
Facebook
cool.
marketplace must be full of stuff.
Well, I always
Just-
feel
yeah.
weird. I feel weird about selling the stuff once I get it. Like I've got like a whole bunch of non-alcoholic spirits over here.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
Like it's like non-alcoholic whiskey and vodka. I just wanted one bottle to do for a demo, and they sent me their whole line, and I'm like, oh my god, nobody wants it either. Like, I don't know. But anyway, so
you gotta
there's
go to a pregnancy convention.
yeah. But anyway, so the TV thing did me well. I didn't really cook much on the TV show, but it was a nice to be able to get out there. And then people would always say, "Oh my God, we love your food on the show," and I'm like, I never cooked anything on the show. I stand in the kitchen and I pretend to chop stuff up, and I don't. I just stand there and talk. And I'm not like, it's not a cooking show.
Right. That's so funny. And so I don't know if you're allowed to really reveal any of this. Were you actually their personal chef?
Yeah. I was there. I've known them for like 12 years or so, 10, well, maybe 10 or 12 years. I knew them before they got married, and I know them up to now when they're about to not be married.
Right. Understandable.
Yeah, and I was with them probably up until the shit hit the fan, whatever that was, but I still talk to everybody, the kids. I talked to Kim and Croy, both of them, and not, I don't take sides or anything. It's too hard, especially when you're with a family for that long. But that opportunity gave me many other opportunities, and I've always done, cooking shows here, much like what you and I did, Phil, together. And really just, you want to send me someplace, I'll go to Ohio, go to North Carolina, I'll go wherever you put me on a plane to.
Yeah, right. Why not?
It's love it. Experience. And also, too, I wrote a cookbook last year.
Yes.
That is my cookbook plug. You can get that on my Instagram.
Yep.
It's called Cooking in Full Bloom with Chef Tracey Bloom. That's me.
All my questions are being answered perfectly. You're just taking the words out of my mouth, which is, it's great. I had some things about the Don't Be Tardy show. Going into it, did you know you were going to be a prominent role? Like, did you?
No. In fact,
you were going to be like a fan favorite.
I knew the family before that, and I had done like their rehearsal dinner and stuff like that, and I'd done a Real Housewives episode where I just like brought food to the table, and that was like my biggest part. And then there was an episode where they were showing their staff. It was like the pool boy, the housekeeper, and they were like above the top, like this like hot pool boy and this housekeeper that wore like nothing, and they weren't even the real people. They were just hired actors to play those people. Most of that reality show was real. But that was like the most unrealistic thing, and they were going to hire a fake chef to be there to show that they had all this money and they were doing, you know what I mean? And so Kim said, "Well, why don't we just use my real chef?" And then really, it only made smoothies for them at that point, other than at my restaurant where they had eaten. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, that sounds cool. Why not?" And then from there, it just grew, and I did become a fan favorite, and I got more airtime, and I got paid by NBC Bravo. Not a lot, but people think, "Oh wow, you're on TV, you must be making like shit tons of money." Like, no, I mean, if you saw the episode where they redid my house, I definitely am not making shit tons of money. Like, I mean, I'm living a fixer-upper, and I don't have any heat. I'm still driving a Kia, so nope, not rich. But it was a cool opportunity, and it's cool. It's cool. Like, I have some friends, and we went down to Savannah, and it was, everybody was out, and everybody was in this big line, and all these people were like, "Bloom, Bloom, look, yay!" And they were like screaming my name, and that was like in the height of the show when it was on, and my friends were like, it was impressive to them, you know what I mean? And or something,
that's cool.
Like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" or something like that. It just made me feel like, I mean, for doing nothing. I mean, it's not like I cured cancer or, even I don't even tied a knot in my shoes. I just did nothing. But that was really cool, and it was fun. And like I said, it did definitely lead to other opportunities, which was where I am now. Is I am starting my own platform. It's called Happy Table. It is a meal delivery service, but I've kind of put that on hold, and I have partnered with a company called Cook Unity, which is like a Factor or something like that. and you guys can look it up. But Cook Unity is basically where chefs. There's a whole bunch of chefs, and the idea is you can eat from a different chef every night.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, and it is pretty cool. So it's all my food, my recipes, my team. I have, my Chef Tracey Bloom LLC. I have to carry liability insurance and workman's comp and all that. But I get to use their kitchen and all their kitchen tools and their ovens and everything else. And I get to go in there and cook all the food. They,
Wow.
I put it in the containers and then they ship it all out, whatever. So it's like,
Wow.
and then they give me a portion of, the proceeds. I pay my guys. It's pretty awesome, and I'm learning a lot from it. And my meals should be live in about 2 weeks, and they'll ship all in the southeast for now, and then I hope to move in other markets as well. But it's good to learn so that when I do go off on my own meal service, I will have picked up a lot of stuff from these guys.
Definitely. That's awesome.
That's really cool. It's
when
amazing
you
how.
say like, oh, sorry.
You can go ahead, Phil. It's fine.
No, go ahead.
It's your. I was just gonna say it's amazing how kind of cooking celebrities, cooking culture has been so big in our country. I know from like a young age we would watch the Food Network late at night, and watch these celebrity chefs, and it's becoming such a big phenomenon. Did you have anyone you idolized growing up, or did you think you'd be in this position?
Sure. Like, I think I think the best story I have would be, all the great chefs, um, that we all, before the internet was really popular, the books that we could get, it was really about getting cookbooks and the next cookbook out. And whoever had a cookbook is pretty much who you idolized,
Right.
And that was cool. And now pretty much anybody can write a cookbook, it's not hard. So I would say, the first TV chef really, other than like on the Food Network, I think like, the Two Hot Tamales were two female chefs. And that was really cool. That was going on when I was in culinary school in the late 90s. And, getting to watch them and two female chefs who were like making it. And, it was really inspiring for me as a female chef because, going into the kitchens with a bunch of men and typically usually the only female, you get all kinds of guys. You might get a nice guy like you, Phil, or a jackass like Grant.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I don't know Grant, but
no, he's a jackass. You're right.
you gotta prove yourself that you're not a salad girl or a pastry girl or whatever. And so it was good to see these two women on there. But Rocco DeSpiro, he had the restaurant, which was the first reality TV show before Top Chef and all that, and so everybody knew who he was. And I guess it was probably about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, I did a cooking show with him out west, and it was really cool to meet him. And I told him about my book, and it wasn't out yet; it was just pre-sale. And I was like, "Yeah, I got this book," and he's like, "Well, we'll send me the link or whatever." And I was like, he gave me his number, and he bought the book, and he was like one of the first people to get it. And he blasted it all over his social media, opened up the recipes. It like made me cry because it was really cool. And also a lot of other famous chefs too. Like I've been able to work in the kitchens with him, and I don't feel like I'm elbow and elbow, but I'm like right across the table from him, and we're doing the same event, which is so cool. Instead of being like, oh, can I help? Can I help this chef? I'm like, I'm at the table next to him doing my shrimp ceviche or whatever.
Right.
So it's been really cool to be a young kid thinking, how am I ever going to buy a house or even rent an apartment with more than or just one person, to buying a house and being flown out all over the country to do these events. So it's pretty awesome, Anyway, that's it.
That's awesome.
No, it's incredible.
You guys brothers?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's my brother, my younger brother.
Cool.
Well,
I was at the Finger Lakes event, the FLX cooking show. So
then
I got to see Tracy. I got to see you, Tracy, and you did great. And I know my aunt loved you, and she was so glad she got to meet you, my Aunt Mare. And then I got to watch Phil's event, which was something. Wasn't for everyone.
There's a lot of
So-
feathers, if I can remember right.
Right. A lot of feathers and blank stares. Yeah. It was.
It was good,
You know,
Phil.
It was good. Yeah.
It
No,
was fun.
I like
It-
being known for that.
It was
kind of
building, it's kind of
Yeah.
awkward comedy, which is kind of what you're known for
Right.
there. So
Stuff.
It's
I
just
didn't get
not everyone
invited
gets
back.
it.
So. that
Me
was-
either.
Really? No way. Are you kidding?
No.
Oh, jeez. I was just talking to her too, and she's like, "Oh, cool, you started a podcast." I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, we got the event going on next month." I'm like, "Oh, cool, awesome." Like waiting for like, "Hey, you want to, try
Right,
again?" Nothing. I'm like, "All right, well."
I mean, I
Have a good
haven't
one.
seen any of their like announced chefs or
No,
anything.
Yeah, it's like very limited marketing so far. So I'm interested to see what they come up with.
Yeah, I
there.
mean, my feelings are not hurt. I cost them a lot of money anyway. I mean, they have to fly me and my son up, give me
Yeah.
a rental car, and they have to buy 100 of my cookbooks.
There you go. Yeah,
So
they didn't want
I mean,
me
it's a
in.
lot. If they get somebody local for free,
Right. Exactly. Take it. They had to buy me some feathers. I guess
Yeah,
it was not in the budget this year. But yeah, speaking of that, your son Cannon is hysterical. I remember he taught me karate. That was what he was showing me that day. He's a ball of energy. You're always doing fun stuff with him on Instagram and posting about that and
yeah. Well, he's. I mean, you got all kinds of kids. You got adopted kids. You got foster kids. Like birth kids. You got the neighbors' kids. You got
Yep,
You got to
neighbors.
from every possible way to get them, right?
yeah,
Like-
yeah. It's like a collection at this point.
That's awesome. That's a great collection. I got this one kid. Someone left him in my car one day, and that's it. I'm done. I'm not picking up strangers anymore.
No, he's awesome too. Anything? I mean, I know you guys try and do some videos together. Sometimes is he interested in cooking too?
Yeah, I mean, he, when he just recently he's starting to get weird about stuff, which I really hate because I always was like, when people be like, "Oh, my kid will only eat chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese," I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm a chef. My kid will eat goat and lamb,"
Right.
and he pretty much would eat anything, and just recently, like he's very, very smart, like way too smart.
Yeah.
He's in kindergarten. He's reading at the middle of third grade level.
Wow.
And like, he's just like, he knows like the official name for night blindness, which is like Nickelopia, just in case you wanted to know, because
Wow.
he needs
Yeah.
to know, like, he'll read ingredients. Mom, this has like some trans fat in it. So he won't eat anything with artificial coloring. He doesn't eat ketchup with anything because he doesn't want to get diabetes. And so in order to get him to eat salmon, I told him, he's like, "Oh, no, I don't want fish." And I was like, "Oh, no, it's chicken salmon." And so it was just last week that I told him, "Hey, he's like, "Oh, I never eat fish." I was like, "We eat fish all the time, the salmon." He goes, "Wait a minute. I thought that was chicken." I said, "No, I thought it was chicken." He's like, "Are you kidding me? I've been eating fish this whole time and it didn't even know it." But yeah, he's got a couple cooking videos. He bugs me to make more of them, and I will. But I mean, I'm sure Phil. You do all the donut stuff. I mean, making these 2-minute videos takes like hours.
Hours.
Like,
yeah.
It's like editing them and just getting and it doesn't. It's not cheap. You don't have a bazillion followers. You're not getting paid for these. You're doing it purely for your entertainment and hopefully to make someone else laugh. So you've got to buy all the product and do all that stuff. And then you've just spent $100 making a 2-minute video that maybe 30 people will watch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if I'm lucky.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same thing over here. But he has his own Instagram. He wants a YouTube. He wants to be a gamer. I mean,
Awesome.
he's like one of those other kids. He likes to watch gamers on YouTube, which is so weird.
Yeah.
Like
it is.
watching other people play games. He's never even played a game, but he
But,
wants to be.
hey, but he's ready. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's good. It's
when the time comes, he'll know exactly what to do.
He'll know what to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's funny. I'm gonna make an Instagram reel eventually. It's funny you brought that up about. So I've kind of moved into like the parenting niche just because, again, like you said, I've got like all these random kids. I might as well put them to work. But the video is gonna be, the dad comes home and he's like, why are you watching kids play with toys on YouTube. You have toys, go play. And then he's gonna sit down and watch football because it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the joke for it. Right? Yeah. Well, go play football. Yeah. We'll see. It'll probably get hundreds of views.
Well,
not more.
you never know. You just need one video to really like. Are you know? I think like TikTok. I try to do some stuff on TikTok. I made some like really dumb videos on TikTok, and I was hoping to get like 25,000 views on the first one or something like that, and I was like, fuck this. I bought wigs and mustaches and beards, and I was doing all these like weird things, and it's just so time consuming. And for a while Instagram was paying me money, and I was making like money with reels, and I'll get paid. I get paid like $100 a month now from Facebook, but I was getting paid like $1,000 a month from Instagram just to make reels. And then they don't do that program anymore. At least they're not doing it for me.
Yeah, no, they cut that. I remember I got invited when reels started on Facebook. They handpicked people to be part of the program. Yeah. And I was not getting any views. I was making like $120 a month just posting stupid shit like the whole time. Like it was crazy. Yeah. And then that was gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I still get a check from Facebook, and then but nothing from Instagram. Instagram was where the big money was. Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. And I I would post it, and the more views I got, the more money I made. Right. And luckily, I have a lot of followers, so it was instant money. Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, hopefully there's some sort of platform that comes back and does that. I know, like, I'm sure like X needs like their publicity back up. I'm sure they'll start some sort of programs or something like that. But
X is starting to. I just saw it because Mr. Beast is on there now, uploading directly to X. And that's the big thing.
Oh, so, Mr. Beast is a big favorite in our house here.
Oh, I'm sure.
Is he?
Christmas, Santa Claus brought Cannon some D's Nuts bars.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice.
He really liked that. Mr. Beast, he likes Mr. Beast a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like that guy has like just an empire of just every kid is looking up to him, and it's all positive stuff.
He's a pretty decent guy, gives back to the community and stuff like that, so I should probably look up these people my son is idolizing.
No,
that's fair. That's fair. But he does seem to be like one of the more positive like social media influencers out there today. So that seems like a good choice at least.
Just got a basic one.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
You know what, Grant? That's my least favorite question, and I get that question probably a million times a year. And I don't know if you'll agree with me, Phil, but like my favorite thing to cook is your favorite thing to eat. I love to cook for people and make them happy. So like every person's going to be a little different. Like I don't want to be like, oh, I make the best shrimp risotto, and Grant's like, oh, I have shellfish allergy. I'm like, well, I want to know what Grant likes, and what, like, if he doesn't like cilantro, or he doesn't eat onions, if he doesn't like garlic, but he loves eggplant. I want to make something with eggplant for him. I like to make people happy. So in my taste changed every day, and I did a lot of like cooking for people. They would just be like, just meal prep for the week. Well, whatever I would meal prep would be whatever I was in the mood for. And sometimes I would be in the mood for like Asian food, and at lunch I'd make them like, chicken. I don't know, it's some sort of chicken Asian thing. And then at night I'm making Asian food still. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not even thinking about it because I'm just making what I'm in the mood for. But, and that changes every day. I might want pizza. I might want lasagna. I might want eggs and bacon. But I like to make what you like. And I like to make like something special for you. Like Phil and Grant's like brotherly love casserole,
Wow. Sounds tasty.
Delicious.
Yeah. Well, Tracey, we truly appreciate you being on. It was just a complete honor to have you on here, especially so early into the show. It shows a lot of unguided faith that you had in us, so we appreciate it.
Well, I like you, Phil. I like you and your feathers. Send me a link. I'll post it on my site, and if I get any more famous, I'll come back on your show.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tracey. You have a good night, okay?
All right, man. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks, Tracey.
Well, that was just awesome to have Tracey on. She's such a big, just kind of like star in anything, TV world, chef world. Just a cool, awesome guest like to have on, especially for a podcast that at this point has not come out yet and only has 3 other episodes.
She was just a real genuine person. It was nice to talk to her. You know, just amazing what cooking has led to for her. I think I might start branching out besides cooking, eggs in the morning, and who knows?
Yeah, maybe you'll make eggs at night.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened to you. Oh, okay. Well,
you got me stunned. I didn't know what to say. No,
that's okay. I got you. You were gonna make eggs at night now too.
Eggs at night.
It's funny too, like eggs at night. Yeah.
Yeah, we play reruns of Full House.
What?
Oh, that's Nick at Night.
Oh, okay. What is wrong with you? Anyway, Grant is like a super picky eater. We didn't get to talk about that, but
I was nervous. I didn't want to let her down. She started talking about how her son learned that she was feeding him salmon. It brought back flashbacks of when my mom tricked me into eating pork chops. So
yeah, they were chicken, right?
I didn't want. She said it was chicken.
Yeah, and you had seconds.
I didn't want to let her know that I haven't had pork chops since, because that's the kind of grudge I hold.
I feel like maybe you just don't know and you've had them. You were easy to trick because you eat so few foods that we could just tell you there's something and you don't mind.
Well, it's true, but I branched out. I tried pizza in college. They say it's an experimental time, so. I liked it.
That's good. It's good. You really got out there in college. It's cool. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Great stuff. Sorry,
anyway,
was that too cheesy for you?
If you guys enjoyed this episode of the Friends of Phil podcast, please subscribe wherever you're listening. Send us a message. Follow us on Instagram. I'm at Phil Tomasso 4, and you can find Grant at G Tomasso, right? Is that
That's
your
right.
handle? Yeah, at G Tomasso. He doesn't really post, so don't expect anything interesting.
But I'm on there all the time looking at reels and sending them to my closest friends.
It's awesome. Great. Good for you. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, that is what Instagram has come down to for me. If you want to find out more about me, you'll have to listen to a podcast.
And the problem with Grant is really, really funny. He does like a ton of impressions and does all these different voices, yet when you talk to him, it's like talking to a literal brick wall. It's awful. It's really bad.
I can't help it. I have nothing to say.
That's great. Awesome. Glad to have you on as the co-host. It's pretty much just an
Speaking
extra
of bricks, no,
yeah?
I don't have anything. It's cold outside, ain't it?
I'm bricked up. Is that the saying?
That's
a different saying. I don't think that's what that means.
I'm uncomfortable.
I'm sorry.
Our listeners are uncomfortable.
That's okay.
Especially
the end of the episode. What's up? Especially because of what?
Just who our audience is going to be.
Yeah,
they don't really need to hear you saying things like that.
Oh, sorry. Stop. All right. Anyway,
just cranking us out of here.
Yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Tune in next Thursday for the next episode of Friends of Phil podcast, brought to you by nobody. If you'd like to hear.
Ooh, there.
Whoa. Oh God, more Soldier Boy. All right, let's just end it. Can we agree?
All right. Yeah.
All right. Goodbye.
Kiss me through the phone
see you
before
guys
we
later.
leave.
Yeah. What?
All right. See ya.
Okay. Bye.